Hi, I'm Grace. I'm from Medway Sunlight Rotary, of which I'm currently the president of. Our club put on a fantastic event on Christmas Day. We opened the doors up to the homeless, people on their own and families who couldn't quite make ends meet. Without the members of Rotary Club, we would not have been able to put this event on. 2 days before Christmas, we prepared all the food and cooked all the turkeys. And then on Christmas Day, our club turned up and opened the doors for all these people. We had 85 guests. I want to say thank you to them and the volunteers that helped to prepare the food and helped on Christmas Day. But most of all, I'd like to say thank you to alfrankmonk photography, who did the video for us for Christmas Day and the questions that he asked, so that we can give this out and give exposure to our next event. Thank you, Al. Well, there was a couple of reasons. My son was one of them. My son has to choose every Christmas whether to spend it with his mum and dad, or dad rather. I didn't want him to have to choose. I didn't want him to feel that he was being pulled each way. He probably doesn't actually know that, but that is one of the reasons that I started helping out up in London first of all. And then I decided that I didn't want to do it in London. I wanted to do it for my local community. And I decided it wasn't just for the homeless, it was for people on their own and families that were struggling to make ends meet, maybe couldn't put a Christmas dinner on the table. It's not just about not having a roof over your head. The inspiration, if you can call it an inspiration, was the need to give back. I feel incredibly grateful for what I do have in my life. I don't have an awful lot, but as I've grown over the years, it's helped me believe that there is so much in this world that we should be grateful for. I don't have an awful lot, but I've got a roof over my head, and I know when I shut my door, I can keep warm in my house. I have at my fingertips many people that I can go to speak to, whether it be something personal or something about business. And very often we don't have that in our lives, someone that we can just turn to. I started not this Christmas just gone, Christmas previously, Christmas 2014, decided to open up a hall to feed people on their own, the homeless and families. And I was a little worried about the reaction that I would get from my fellow business colleagues, mainly through a wonderful network called ABC. And I remember when I stood up for the first time to what would seem like a begging bowl, that I thought maybe I was being a little bit too cheeky, but I was received with such warmth and support. I felt really grateful for knowing these business people. I'd explained what it was that I was going to do. I explained that I had the support of my Rotary Club, which was Medway Sunlight Rotary, and that I would need as much help as possible from the local community. So my first question to them was, I was going to open up, the reason I was opening up, and would they help and contribute the food that I would need for Christmas Day. I would like to say for 2014 and 2015 that I would say probably about 85% of the food was donated from my fellow colleagues from my network groups. Iceland in Strood has helped. Formula One Automotives in Strood have helped. There has been the odd donation from people who got to know about the Christmas Day event, but mostly it came from my fellow business networkers, and everything was donated, from the flour to flour the potatoes before they're cooked, through to the stuffing, the breadcrumbs, the sausage meat, the turkeys, the Christmas puddings, the custard, the sugar, the teas, the coffees, biscuits, everything. All I had to get was the serviettes and the silver trays to cook everything in. Have to mention the school in Gravesend, Riverview Junior School, donated their kitchen for us to be able to prepare the vegetables and the turkeys 2 days before Christmas. Without them, we wouldn't be able to cook all the food in time on Christmas Day. We were expecting about 120 people. That's how much food that we had supplied. And we got through the door 85 people this year to 90, and with the helpers that we fed, it was about 118 meals that we served on Christmas Day. The volunteers have been amazing. They came from people that I know through my network and their friends, people who were looking for something to help on Christmas Day. They found out my number and they called me. We had people like Bernie Woods and John Woolard, who was transporting people backwards and forwards so that people could attend if they weren't walking distance to the hall. We started at 7:30 in the morning. We had 43 volunteers. Some came for a few hours in the morning, some came in the afternoon to help finish off the day, and we had, I would say, probably about 35 people during the middle part of the day, and of that we had about 8 of us that stayed all day from start to end. It's a long day, it's a tiring day. One of the hardest things to work out is exactly how much you need of everything. Just to give you an idea, we had 17 turkeys that we cooked, 22 kilos of sprouts, 20 kilos of parsnips, 20 kilos of carrots. It was an all-day thing to cook and prepare this food. On the day, it was amazing. We were originally going to start at 11:30 service, and for people who were staying all day, followed by service of food by 12:30, and then another service at 2 o'clock. People started turning up at 11:15, and we were serving them their Christmas dinner from 11 o'clock right through till 4:45 in the afternoon. We never stopped. It was hectic, it was fun, the atmosphere was brilliant. One of the biggest things that I wanted my volunteers to do, and excuse me calling them my volunteers, but I feel quite passionate about how they gave up their day too, was that it wasn't about just feeding their tummies, it was about feeding their souls. It was about talking to them, having a conversation with them, making them feel wanted, needed, valued, above all valued, that someone could take the time and sit down and chat with them. People walked through the door, they were cold, they were hungry, some were really miserable, but when you sat down and you chatted with these people, they just shared what they wanted with you, and the laughter throughout the day was amazing. I wish I could name all my volunteers, there were so many of them, but I can't, it would take far too long. We had a family that arrived and they were in one room. It was a mother and 3 children. She had no cooking facilities and didn't know what she was going to do on Christmas Day. She heard about us, she turned up with her children. She was amazed when her children were taken upstairs to choose Christmas presents, and when she came down she was in tears because she felt that she had actually given her children something that day. They went away feeling happy that they had presents, feeling full because they had a 3-course meal, and I sincerely hope that she's now got a nice warm house and home for her children. I'd like to mention a gentleman called Bill. He wanted to come to Christmas Day. He phoned me up a week before, asked if he could come, and I said no problem. At 9:15 that morning he phoned up and decided he didn't want to come. He said that he didn't mix very well with people, he didn't want to talk to strangers, and that he had stomach cancer and felt that he shouldn't be around people who were coughing and spluttering all over the place. After a conversation with him, I suggested that Bernie come along with John to pick him up at 10:15, and that he come and sit with us, and if he felt that he couldn't stay, Bernie would take him home. He arrived at the hall about 10:10, and in fact he was one of the last to leave at 4:45. He sat and he talked to the volunteers, he talked to other people, and he had a really good day. He had a really big smile on his face, and he felt that he had felt really lucky that he had come on that day. We had youngsters, some as young as 17, 18-year-olds, that have come and feeling cold. They felt so privileged that they were having food, and that they were lucky enough to have a little present of sweets on the table when they sat down. When they were taken upstairs to choose a new coat, new shoes, new socks, new jumpers, gloves, hats, a scarf, they were absolutely blown away. And they weren't greedy. They wouldn't take more than they absolutely needed, because they were aware that there was other people that were coming and would need it. Now, how amazing is that? That someone that's got nothing wouldn't be so greedy as to take more than they actually need. That made me just want to cry. That was so fantastic. Looking out onto the kitchen, from the kitchen into the hall, watching people talking, laughing. What made my day was the fact that these people came in. They didn't know what to expect. They expected very little. And they were sitting the other side, there was a smile on their face. They were laughing with people, talking to people, and they left feeling someone wanted to know about them. I can't wait for next year. I'm really looking forward to it again. I plan on doing this, and it's going to grow. We were lucky enough to be able to achieve what we call an emergency box, and in the boxes were extra gloves, scarves, hats, socks. There was packet soups, because the homeless do have access to hot water, which is something I didn't know till this year. There was wipes, there was biscuits, there was chocolates, because they need the high sugar content to help keep them warm. And there were sandwiches. We packed 3 sandwiches per pack, and people went away with something to be able to eat that night or the next day. But I know if they come across somebody that wasn't able to have that, wasn't able to come that day, they would share it. Next year, I would like it to be more viral. It's advertised more, shared more on Facebook, tweeted more, put on LinkedIn. If I can get 150 people in through the doors next year, I would be ecstatic. More families who need help. It's one of the loneliest times of Christmas and the highest period for suicides. I don't want these people to be on their own. It doesn't matter if they're homeless. It doesn't matter if they've got a huge income. I want them to come to me. I want them to join in the fun, the talk, the sharing. I want them to be part of it. And I hope next year I will.